美琪姐，今天这么神秘，这次要带我们去哪里呢？
今天我要带大家去的一个地方特别神秘，它是一个国家，特别美丽，有漂亮的姑娘，有好玩的旅游的地方，感觉像童话般的故事一样。那今天还要带你们见一位神秘的大咖，因为咱们中国人的美食喜欢吃大米，还有是喜欢吃面条，但是据你们了解，你们觉得他们可能会吃些什么？
因为它不是被印度洋环绕的嘛，
对，
就是说那边的海鲜是特别多的吧？那我另外一个同事就惨了，因为他海鲜过敏。
那其实它除了海鲜之外，还有各式各样的美食，因为它是一个旅游胜地嘛。当然，它配套的美食也是符合全世界的各种各样的口味。一会儿咱们可以问一下咱们当地的一些美食，可以问一下咱们这位神秘嘉宾。
那边的男性服装都特别的帅气，就像国王一样。
是啊，有的像国王，女士像公主一样，国王般的感觉。
不用，我怕我的气质 hold 不住。
今天就带你们去感受他们不一样的各式各样的美食文化、服装文化等等。Let's go！ 一个像彩虹一样的国度，马可吐温曾经把它比作另外一个星球。这里有最纯正的西来红茶，最漂亮的姑娘，还有最纯正的微笑，更有最虔诚的信仰。好的，朋友们，接下来跟随我的脚步，让我们去一探究竟吧，走吧。畅谈文化，带你看世界。大家好，我是美希。本期我们做客斯里兰卡驻华大使馆。那么位于我身边的这位呢，就是斯里兰卡驻华大使，让我们一起来认识一下。尊敬大使阁下，您好。
Good afternoon. 你好。
坐在我旁边这位呢，就是我们斯里兰卡的驻华大使。刚刚呢，也已经跟大伙呢做了一个问好。那么在这里呢，我特别想跟大使先生聊一下，非常感谢您能够接受我们这一次的访谈。那么斯里兰卡呢，与咱们中国建交已经长达62周年的历史之长。在这里呢，我相信我们之间呢有很多很生动的一些故事啊。当然，我们可能也发生了一些重要的事情。
At the outset, I would like to thank you most sincerely for giving me this opportunity to talk about Sri Lanka, particularly relations between the People's Republic of China and Sri Lanka. Our historical relations goes back to several centuries. But of course, as you mentioned, the modern relations, diplomatic level, we commenced in 1957, which means establishment of embassies. But the recognition of the People's Republic of China was done almost 70 years ago. If I will give the correct date, the 5th of January of 1950, that means that's why I mentioned 70 years, by 5th next month, Sri Lanka recognized People's Republic of China, as well as terminated the relation Sri Lanka had with the Republic of China, now known as Taiwan. In other words, we accepted one China policy 70 years ago. We signed a trade agreement as two independent nations in 1952. In 57, of course, we established our embassies in two capitals. So our relations are historical as well as contemporary. During these nearly 70 years, we were so friendly, no bilateral issues, interruptions, misunderstanding. So it's a model partnership between two countries.
谢谢，那也非常感谢我们的大使先生这次能够给我们这个机会，让更多的中国观众能够更进一步的了解斯里兰卡。那我特别想问一下大使先生，您应该来到中国应该有好几年的时间了。之前在网上我们有了解过的一些资料，您在中国已经走遍了100多个城市，在这100多个城市当中，您对中国有些什么特别的印象？
Yes, as you mentioned, almost more than 100 cities I have traveled. I have traveled to all the provinces, all autonomous zones and municipalities. The most remarkable thing in all these places, the development of China or the modernization of China has been distributed equally among the regions. The development or the improvement of the life of the people is not limited to one province, one city. It's everywhere. It's the most remarkable thing is not only China was able to create enormous wealth, that wealth had been distributed equally among the regions, among the peoples, among the provinces.
非常感谢。今天我们进大使馆采访之前呢，我们其实在外景采访了很多的中国观众，有很多中国观众呢想让我代表他们问大使一些问题，咨询一些问题，比如说像咱们斯里兰卡有哪些好吃的美食？那像咱们斯里兰卡平日里的一些主食是什么？那比如说又到我们节庆日的时候，我们又会吃一些什么样的美食呢？关于美食方面，能跟我们中国热爱美食的一些电视机前的观众朋友们介绍一下吗？
Yes. Of course, rice has become a staple food not only in China, even in Sri Lanka and in many Asian countries. So Sri Lanka's history, written history goes back to almost 25 centuries. Everywhere the rice was our staple food. But as you mentioned, your main thing, rice and noodles. In addition to rice, we have a thing called curry. That means we have a special preparation of our vegetables and fish, particularly with the milk, coconut milk made out of coconut. So Sri Lanka is well known as a country where the rice and curry is the most popular food items. Curry is based on coconut milk.
我觉得非常美味啊，因为斯里兰卡呢属于印度洋上的这个国家，旅游国家，所以它当地呢也盛产很多的这个椰子。这个街访的时候，有很多的中国观众其实还想了解一下，您能够把咱们斯里兰卡的一些美丽的风景、旅游胜地，能跟大伙再介绍一下吗？
I can introduce many places. Very difficult to point out one single place, but of course different people want different things. For example, young people would like to enjoy their life in beaches, very clean, sandy, white beaches. Maybe some of the people would like to visit historical sites, cultural sites. Some may enjoy wildlife. Even some others may like to do shopping. And particularly Buddhist believers in China would like to visit historical Buddhist shrines, because Sri Lanka is considered as a one country continuously preserved Theravada Buddhism for almost 2,500 years. Not only we protected the Buddhism, Buddhist text, everything, and we were able to preserve the historical places where Lord Buddha himself had visited. Because we are aware that Lord Buddha was as a prince, Siddhartha Gautama, was born in place known as Lumbini in Nepal. Then he came further down to present-day India, where he enlightened. That place is known as Buddha Gaya. Then he lived almost 8 years. During these 8 years, he has traveled to many parts of India, including 3 times to Sri Lanka. So therefore, Sri Lanka was, of course, at that time, present-day India was divided into a number of kingdoms. For example, the Reverend Fahian says, when he visited Sri Lanka, it was the 30th country. But at present day, in between China and only Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal and India, only 4 countries. But during those 4 regions, there had been 29 kingdoms. Only outside of Indian kingdoms he visited Sri Lanka, and those three places we have preserved. So not only that, even the original branch of the tree where Gautama Buddha, known as Sakyamuni Buddha, enlightened, still remain in Sri Lanka. It is the most oldest recorded tree in the world. It is in our ancient capital. Therefore, as I mentioned, different tourists need different requirements. But the one good thing, every segment of tourists will be satisfied since they would be able to enjoy their requirement within Sri Lanka.
好的，那其实，在我们来采访您之前呢，很多中国观众也提到一个问题啊，因为很多中国的男性朋友特别喜欢咱们斯里兰卡的男性服装，因为说身着那个服装以后都有国王般的感觉啊。同时呢，咱们斯里兰卡也俗称是宝石王国，那么可以帮咱们介绍一下咱们这个服装的特色，还有咱们当地的一些宝石的一些特色吗？谢谢。
When you mention about Sri Lankan dresses, in formal occasions, they dress very well. And between, as I mentioned, we have a very historical traditions. So even average person, and again as of course China is the same. China also has a very historical traditions. Not only historical tradition, China has a different kind of dresses in different provinces. It is normal casual life, but I am very happy that you are coming that when we dress our national dress, you can see the photograph behind me when I presented my credentials to your president, and when I presented my credentials to North Korean head of the government, I was dressed up. But this is the simple, most everybody can afford own way of saris. Now you know, of course, ladies from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, but Sri Lankan women, known as a Candian sari, Candian dressing. Yes, you can see Candian way of dresses, particularly among the ladies.
那在这里呢，还特别想问一下，因为前2年我们的整个两国的文化交流以来，主要是以旅游业为主。那么接下来的未来的5年时间之内，就是您希望两国之间在哪些方面有更进一步的一些合作？比如说国际贸易、农业的贸易。
Train them the way you want it. As long as you are paying their salary, you can ask them to learn the language, express their views. So Sri Lankan students, we have only very few working. Everybody has their talents. They need the platform. The media company can provide that platform for them to display their traditional heritage.